It's 8:17 a.m. on an ordinary weekday morning. The city feels completely normal. Commuters stand shoulder to shoulder inside subway cars, gripping metal poles as the train rattles through underground tunnels. Above ground, traffic crawls slowly through intersections where impatient drivers tap their steering wheels and glance at the clock on their dashboards. Coffee shops are overflowing with the familiar morning routine. Steam rises from espresso machines. Baristas call out names while office workers scroll through emails on their phones. A delivery truck blocks half the street as the driver unloads boxes into a grocery store. A group of construction workers laughs loudly while drinking coffee from paper cups beside a half-finished building. Across the city, thousands of small, ordinary moments unfold at exactly the same time. A teacher writes the day's lesson on a classroom board. A receptionist answers a phone call. A father rushes out the door, already late for work. Nothing about this moment suggests anything unusual. Nothing suggests danger. Then, somewhere in the distance, a siren begins to wail. At first, it's faint, just a long mechanical tone echoing between buildings. Most people barely notice. Someone assumes it's an ambulance. Another person thinks it might be a fire truck somewhere across town. The sound grows louder, longer, more mechanical than anything people normally hear. A few pedestrians stop walking and glance upward. Drivers roll down their windows trying to figure out where the sound is coming from. Then another siren begins. And another. Within seconds, the entire skyline seems to vibrate with the sound. That's the moment when people begin to realize, this isn't normal. Your phone vibrates suddenly in your pocket. A loud notification sound cuts through the noise of the street. You pull it out and see something that overrides every other function on the screen. A bright alert appears. Emergency alert, ballistic missile. Threat inbound, seek immediate shelter. For a moment, your brain struggles to process the message. Ballistic missile? That doesn't sound real. People around you start checking their phones too. Someone laughs nervously. Is this a test? Another person says it must be a glitch. But the sirens continue. Long rising tones echo across the city in waves. Inside office buildings, employees stand up from their desks and gather near windows. Inside shopping centers, store employees pause in confusion, looking toward the entrances. Television screens suddenly interrupt normal programming. Emergency broadcasts appear. Across the city, millions of people are seeing the same alert. And the message is clear. Somewhere far beyond the horizon, a missile has already been launched. And according to the warning system, impact could happen within minutes. Ballistic missiles travel differently from airplanes or cruise missiles. They follow a trajectory similar to a ball thrown into the air, but on a scale that stretches far beyond the atmosphere. The moment a missile launches, its rocket engines produce an enormous heat signature. That heat is detected almost instantly by infrared surveillance satellites orbiting Earth. These satellites are constantly scanning the planet for exactly this event. When the sensors detect a launch plume, the system alerts military command centers within seconds. Computers begin calculating the missile's trajectory. Radar systems join the tracking process as the missile rises higher. Within minutes, analysts can determine where the missile is likely headed. Then comes the most dangerous phase. At the peak of its arc, the missile releases its payload. One or multiple warheads separate and begin falling back toward Earth. From that point forward, gravity does most of the work. The warheads descend at hypersonic speeds that can exceed 15,000 miles per hour. At those speeds, the distance between continents disappears quickly. A missile launched from across an ocean might reach its target in less than 30 minutes, but civilians never receive the full 30 minutes. Detection takes time. Verification takes time. Authorities must confirm the threat before triggering nationwide alerts. By the time sirens activate and emergency messages reach phones, most people have only about 8 to 10 minutes left. But even when the warning arrives, most people do not react immediately. Psychologists have studied this behavior for decades. They call it normalcy bias. It's a powerful mental defense mechanism that helps humans stay calm during uncertain situations. The brain assumes that because something catastrophic has never happened before, it probably isn't happening now. So instead of reacting instantly, people hesitate. They look around for confirmation. This creates a phenomenon known as milling behavior. When groups of people experience unexpected warnings, they often gather together and start asking questions. Did you get that alert? What does it mean? Is this real? Instead of acting, they talk. They search for information. They wait to see what others are doing. Someone checks social media. Another person refreshes a news website. For a few crucial minutes, thousands of people across the city remain frozen between disbelief and uncertainty. But time is the one resource they cannot afford to lose. Eventually, confusion turns into panic. Someone shouts that they need to get home. Another person insists that leaving the city is the safest option. Within moments, hundreds of people rush toward parking garages and side streets. Car doors slam, engines roar to life, drivers pull into traffic with sudden urgency. At first it feels logical. If danger is coming, escaping the area seems like the obvious solution. But the streets were already busy before the sirens began. Now, thousands of additional vehicles pour onto the same roads. Traffic lights continue their slow cycle. Cars inch forward, bumper to bumper. Within minutes, intersections become locked in gridlock. Drivers lean on their horns. Some abandon vehicles and begin running down the street. But the reality is simple. Ballistic missiles travel faster than any car ever could. Even if someone managed to reach the highway instantly, they would still be moving far too slowly to escape the impact zone. And vehicles offer almost no protection against the effects of a nuclear blast. Glass shatters easily. Metal panels buckle under pressure. Inside a car, a person is dangerously exposed. Running feels like taking action. But in this situation, running is often the worst possible choice. The most effective survival strategy is surprisingly simple. Get inside immediately. Buildings provide layers of protection that dramatically reduce exposure to blast effects and radiation. Concrete walls absorb shockwaves. Brick structures block thermal radiation. Steel frames help buildings resist pressure changes. The deeper inside a structure someone goes, the safer they become. The best location is usually a basement or underground space. Subway stations. Underground parking levels. Interior stairwells. If no underground shelter is available, moving to the center of a large building can still provide significant protection. The key principle is distance and shielding. Every wall between you and the outside world reduces the amount of energy that reaches you. Windows are the most dangerous features in any building during a blast. Glass can shatter into thousands of high-speed fragments. So moving away from windows and toward interior rooms dramatically improves survival chances. These decisions may sound simple in theory, but when alarms are blaring and uncertainty fills the air, making the right choice requires calm thinking under extreme pressure. If a nuclear warhead detonates above or near a city, the first thing people notice is the flash. A sudden burst of white light brighter than the sun. For an instant, the entire landscape appears frozen in perfect clarity. Shadows sharpen. Colors vanish in the overwhelming brightness. Then comes the thermal pulse. A wave of intense heat spreads outward at the speed of light. This heat can ignite flammable materials and cause severe burns miles away from the explosion. But the most physically destructive force arrives seconds later. The blast wave. Air compresses violently outward from the explosion, forming a powerful shock front. This wall of pressure travels faster than the speed of sound. When it reaches buildings, it slams into them with enormous force. Windows explode inward. Doors rip off their hinges. Roofs collapse. Closer to the center, entire structures may disintegrate instantly. Vehicles are thrown down streets. Streetlights bend like thin wires. Debris becomes deadly projectiles traveling through the air at incredible speeds. Yet surprisingly, not everything within the city is destroyed. Buildings farther from the epicenter may remain standing. And inside them, people who found shelter may survive the initial blast. But the disaster is far from over. Minutes after the explosion, a massive column of smoke and debris rises into the sky. This towering formation becomes the mushroom cloud. As the cloud climbs higher, it pulls vast amounts of dust, soil, and debris into the atmosphere. Mixed within that debris are radioactive particles created by the nuclear reaction. Eventually, gravity begins pulling those particles back toward Earth. This is known as radioactive fallout. Fallout can drift across large areas depending on wind direction. Tiny particles settle onto rooftops, roads, vehicles, and open ground. To the human eye, it may look like ordinary dust or ash, but those particles carry dangerous radiation. Anyone exposed to them for extended periods may absorb harmful doses. This is why the hours immediately following a nuclear detonation are critical. Radiation levels are strongest at first, but decrease rapidly over time. Remaining sheltered behind thick walls or underground spaces dramatically reduces exposure. The first 24 hours are especially important. Those who stay protected during that period significantly increase their chances of survival. 8 minutes. That's the amount of time most people would have between the moment the sirens begin and the moment the world changes forever. 8 minutes to recognize the danger. 8 minutes to overcome disbelief. 8 minutes to make decisions that could determine whether someone lives or dies. In disasters throughout history, survival rarely depends on strength or luck alone. It depends on awareness, on the ability to recognize a threat quickly and respond without hesitation. Because when sirens begin to echo across a city, the clock starts moving immediately. Most people will freeze. Some will panic, but a few will understand exactly what those sirens mean. And in a world where minutes matter, those few minutes of clarity can mean everything. Sometimes survival is not about outrunning danger. Sometimes it is simply about realizing what is happening before everyone else does.